I think it was the most disgustingest thing could have happened to a human being.
Why is that?
Because first of all, law-wise, we should look at man's right. He's not guilty until he's proven guilty.
One word, appalling. Because I can not understand a small community like that, and you don't know your neighbors, and the police don't know who this man is. I think it's appalling. And he was already in his house, and they told him to come out.
Oh, I wasn't surprised. No, I wasn't surprised.
Why not?
I wasn't surprised because in America, we understand that this is a white America. It's not a black America. Mm-hmm. No matter how many degrees, what school.
The nation is talking. Harlem right along with them. Specifically about the recent arrest of African-American Harvard professor Henry Louis Gates Jr. by a white cop in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It all started with a routine police check after a 911 call was placed suspecting two men of burglarizing a neighbor's home.
I don't know what's happening. I just had an older woman standing here, and she had noticed two gentlemen trying to get in a house at that number, 17 Ware Street.
Boston Police Sergeant James Crowley arrived on the scene. It was determined that Professor Gates was having a problem getting into his home after a business trip from China. Identification was presented, words exchanged. Gates is arrested at his home for disorderly conduct after, quote, exhibiting loud and tumultuous behavior, according to a police report.
Good evening. Please be seated.
President Obama was asked about the arrest in a press conference.
I don't know, not having been there and not seeing all the facts, what role race played in that, but I think it's fair to say, number one, any of us would be pretty angry. Number two, that the Cambridge police acted stupidly in arresting somebody when there was already proof that they were in their own home. And number three, what I think we know separate and apart from this incident is that there is a long history in this country of African Americans and Latinos being stopped by law enforcement disproportionately. And that's just a fact.
The president's reaction did not sit well with the police officer and others across the nation. But here in Harlem, some agree with Obama's candid response, but realize as president he must choose his words more carefully.
People didn't like the word he used, stupidly, and they acted stupidly. They act with no common sense. Sometimes you cannot appease everybody. And yes, he's the president, but I didn't think stupidly was not a wrong word.
I think the first answer he gave was right. When he looked over and he acknowledged where he was wrong, and he a person like that. He acknowledges when he's wrong.
New York City Councilman Robert Jackson represents portions of Harlem, the Bronx, and Washington Heights. As a politician, he understands Obama's predicament.
We all say things sometimes in which we speak from the heart and speak from experience, our life experience. That may not be the best thing to say at that particular moment, but it's said. And you wish you had the opportunity to pull it back.
But the president couldn't pull it back, so racial profiling and other discussions about race in America commenced.
I'm glad it escalated to the way it did. I'm so happy because people will now realize this shit happens all the time, and just because we have a black president ain't nothing changed. Nothing has changed.
Former National Security Advisor and Secretary of State Colin Powell spoke out on the issue, saying he too has been profiled, an experience Cordie Piper and other Harlem residents know too well.
Well, I was walking to the train station down 34th Street, and police said some white man got robbed. No, some black men were asking the white man for money. I said, I don't go around asking white men for money. And then he just jumped into it. Let me see your identification. So I had to, I didn't fight back or anything. I just pulled out my ID and showed him everything. Then he said, oh, he started laughing. Well, I just made a mistake, but you can see that I did try to treat you nice and everything. And I said, I did come down 34th Street station to go ask white men for money, And so that's a formal racial profiling.
Despite this embarrassing reality, backed by countless incidents described by Americans of color, national dialogue appeared to spiral out of control.
That's calling someone a monkey eating, a banana eating monkey is not racist. Absolutely, it's a racist term. And
people took sides, and the emotional conversation became nasty for some. It even played out in cyberspace and caused one New Yorker to lose her job. Here in Manhattan, Lee Lander, an aide to the borough president, stepped down after inappropriate messages were discovered on her Facebook page. Racial profiling does exist, she says, but for good reason. Take a look at this country's jails. Who makes up the majority of the inmates? Exactly, she comments. She mockingly calls the President of the United States Odumma and says Gates is a racist. Quote, if Mr. Big Shot Harvard would have kept his mouth shut, shown ID, and not started yelling at the police officer, he never would have been arrested. So please, it's time to get over this because I'm black BS. Comments go back and forth among Landon's Facebook friends in what reads like a heated debate with strong personal conviction. Here in Harlem, the discussion is just as diverse and emotional.